Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! So, here is another short story from my past. Today's story is about a guy from a few years ago. He decided that he will park his car in front of a gate that is only opened once a week at most for trailer loads to get into the rear yard. Since we rarely get loads like that, it's infrequently used. We still don't allow people to park there as permitted by the city. 4 years before this, we will park one of our service call trucks in front of it, but after it got hit by a car hard, we stopped doing that. Enter Mr. Peacock, as I call him. I call him this because he's the only man I have ever seen pull out a mirror and a comb from his pocket to check his hair. He also spends about 3 minutes in his car after parking to fix his hair and make sure his tie is straight. I wish this was a joke. He also is known to drench himself in cologne before work. Well, Mr. Peacock would park his brand new Lexus RX in front of my gate every single day. We would call the police and go through the process to have his car towed away. Basically, the officer comes out, takes pictures, makes us file a report and gives us a list of companies we can call to have it removed. They will usually tell you who will be the fastest. I ended up having to save that number and we would call them right after calling the police. The guy would come to us angry, wondering what we did with his car. We would hand him a copy of the police report and name of the tow company. This happened for 2 weeks. He even filed a suit against my company and made several complaints to the city. So yeah, this part may belong in pity revenge, but I am not sure. Last time we saw that car, it was totaled. That street is a hazard, as it's so oddly shaped that people think it's a straight road, but it actually dips and curves at weird angles. The city leveled off the section by my gate, but that made a hill on both sides. GPS makes the road look straight, but it's not. So the guy who thought he was entitled to park in front of my gate got his car wrecked. The guy who hit his car survived, but neither of the cars survived. Please slow down on bad roads, people. The background. This is a story from years ago when I provided on-site tech work in a niche market all over America. The work is good and pays well, but the traveling can be rough, as I put in some 100,000 miles, 160,000 kilometers a year per car. As I travel mostly by car, during the summer we pay reliable times to feed the cats, water the lawns, and take the whole family on the road. My kids get to see much of America and parts of Canada and Mexico, and have fantastic vacations, while I get to travel and still have the company of my family after work. The trips normally last 3 to 4 months. These are great times. Unfortunately, during the winter, the kids have school and I get to be away on my own anywhere from 2 weeks to 4 months on a stretch. Some summers this happens due to my family having other needs back in town. But then they sometimes travel with me for Christmas break too. At least my wife never has to hold down a job while I'm working this job. This story happens during one of those times that I'm out of town and my beautiful wife is managing things at home. The setup. When we first moved into this house, there is a great family that lives across the street from us. They are very respectful and just really great neighbors. They are upper middle class Latinos. They own a bar and they have fixed up their house in some very nice ways, including a wrought iron fence around the yard. Much better than a chain link fence around ours. They have several nice cars, more than they can fit in their driveway. There are always 2 cars parked on the street in front of their house. But they also have a problem. For whatever reason, someone in a local constabulary just cannot accept that a Latino business owner of a bar can make this kind of money without also dealing drugs. Every month the police swoop in with warrants and drug-sniffing dogs and spend hours going through their house and cars with fine-toothed combs. Every month they leave empty-handed and no arrests, no tickets, no infractions, nothing. Every month, the neighbors come over to apologize for any disturbance this inspection causes us. They are mortified every time it happens. Every month, we tell them not to worry about it. We always reassure them that this says more about the police than it does about them. Believe me, if they had been doing anything at all, they would already have been caught. They appreciate our support. And as my wife and children are also Latino, we are glad to give it. Finally, they have had enough of it. They sell the bar and house and move to a smaller town in another state with a larger Latino population and open a new bar there. I truly wish them well. There follows a string of much lower class Latinos in their old house. None of them live there for very long. I suspect there may be a landlord behind some of this. Some of them are genuinely nice people. We give 2 broken down vehicles to one fellow who is renting a room in a basement. I decide I'm never going to get the time to swap parts between them to come up with a functioning vehicle, which had been the original plan. He is able to rebuild a single working vehicle and now can travel out of town for work. My only price is that he tows off what he doesn't use. And this, he does. Good guy. The Macho Rooster. Then comes the day the Macho Rooster moves in, and he lives there for a long time. He is the owner of the house, and this makes him a somebody. And somebodies are an entitled thing to be. He struts about in nice clothes and bling. This is his domain. He has declared himself emperor of the street, and any who challenge it will rue the day. Almost immediately we start having trouble with him and his family parking in our driveway or in front of the mailbox. If the mailbox is blocked, the post won't be delivered. My beautiful wife will take the kids to school or pick them up and come home to find she has to park on the street. This rubs her all kinds of wrong. But leaving nasty grams on a windshield is not improving things at all. If they get a shot at our driveway, they take it. Weekends are even more fun. Not only is the entire street filled with cars related to his house, but the party and the music is playing so loud all of our windows shake, including the ones in the back of the house. If that is not bad enough, it keeps up until 3 or 4 or even 5 in the morning. He has bullied many of the neighbors with his macho posturing. They won't call the police with the noise complaints out of fear, but we call, and they turn it up even louder after the police leave. Yeah, he's a real class act, this one. The event. So on this day, my beautiful wife returns from picking up the kids from school and their car is in a driveway. What's different this time is a young lady sitting in a car waiting for someone or something. Beautiful wife parks on a street, gets the kids in the house, and then comes out to have a chat with a young lady. It goes something like this, translated from Spanish and as relayed to me by my wife. She tells her, "Excuse me, I'm going to need you to move your car out of my property. You have no permission to park here." "Excuse me? My uncle said I could park here, so you can just get lost. Your uncle doesn't own this driveway. He can't give you permission to park in my driveway. That's not how it works. He said I can park here. I can park here." She then gets out, locks the car and walks across the street. My beautiful wife calls after her. "I can have you towed, you know." "You wouldn't dare." Little does she know my beautiful wife. Not only does she dare, she has almost done it several times already, but wanted to give them a chance to be warned. Well, now they have been warned. But before she calls a tow truck, beautiful wife has a feeling this may escalate. She calls a non-emergency police line and lets them know the issue she's having with our neighbors. When they get the address, they actually say, "Oh, them?" She's looking for a number for a towing company. Remember the good old days when we used Yellow Pages for things like this? And that's when there is a knock at the door. It's the Macho Rooster, and he is huffing and puffing. My wife is fearless. She opens the door and she confronts him. "How dare you tell my niece she can't park here? I told her she could." But what makes you think that matters? You can't give permission to anyone to park on my own property. Macho Rooster puffs his chest more. "Look, little lady, you obviously don't know who you're talking to. I can say it. And if I say it, it happens." And my wife laughs. He's actually shorter than her. Look, little man, that macho crap doesn't fly here. Maybe where you are from, you're a big deal and that crap works, but where I come from, the men are afraid of the women, not the other way around. We know what rolling pins are good for, but we are not afraid to use them. I have a nice marble one here. Would you like to see it? This obviously did not suit Macho at all. He starts sputtering nearly incomprehensible bits of phrases that include some snippets like, "How dare you?" and "Nobody talks to me like that," and so on, but mostly just sputtering like an old car with gas in a carburetor. Now, at this point, my beautiful wife takes a stance that is a quick reaction away from demonstrating a beautiful soccer kick to Macho's low-hanging fruit. As she can see, he's about to use something other than his words to get his point across, and she's ready to defend herself. But she can see something he, in his sputtering rage, cannot, and that is a police car that has just pulled up behind his niece's car. So as Macho's fist raises over his head to beat her into submission, she decides it is worth playing the poor victim and taking the hits. Instead of striking the first blow, she cowers just a little and cries. And she tries not to laugh while doing it. To her amazement, the blow never lands. Officer Friendly breaks the speed of light when he sees the fist goes up. He's out of his car, over the hood, over the chain link fence, and has Macho's fist in his grip before he can take the swing at her. Very shortly thereafter, Macho is shown a new kind of bling. A set of nice silver bracelets is placed in the back of a cruiser. Other police have now arrived. Beautiful wife is a perfect little victim. She is so afraid of him and what he could do to her and her kids. Her being here home all alone while her husband is traveling for work. She believes her performance is Oscar-worthy. Doubtful, but it's good enough for the intended audience. The niece is forced to move her car off our property. Macho is not seen in the neighborhood for nearly a week. There are some apparently complicating issues that make this much worse for him, but the police are not free to disclose. We really don't care. The aftermath. For the rest of the time he lives across the street from us, Macho never acknowledges our existence again. He also never allows any of his people to park in our driveway, in front of our mailbox, or anywhere in front of our property. We only have one more all-night music Friday night, with the first visit from the police results, and the music going off permanently. Yeah, we called the complaint in. Under his ownership, the house is not properly maintained. It eventually falls into disrepair. He sells it, and I suspect to buy another one to run down. It is the opposite of flipping homes. My beautiful wife is a winner by default. The Macho Rooster didn't even qualify for the match. One of my employees accidentally sent out the wrong item on an internet sale. Person was more than just pissed. We offered return at our expense and will ship the correct item as soon as possible, and original shipping will be refunded. But no, that wasn't good enough for him. He told me I should fire Steve for this. Steve is not his real name. He had made a simple mistake and things happen because we were in a busy time of the year. Now this was 2 weeks before Christmas and I finally replied to this angry customer. Dear customer, thank you. I appreciate your insistence that action be taken in this case. I have been building a case to remove Steve from the company for some time, and this helps me seal the deal. You aren't the first person to tell me this. Thanks to your complaint, I have given Steve his walk-in papers. He was very upset, he even cried a little bit and asked after 4 years how I could be so heartless to fire him 2 weeks before Christmas and that he was the only source of income for his family with 2 kids and disabled wife. I simply told him he kissed off the wrong customer. Sorry Steve, but Santa won't be visiting your kids this year. Oh, and Steve, sorry, but you no longer qualify for your year-end bonus. I thanked the customer because his complaint was gonna save the company a lot of money, and as a reward I was making his $8 purchase totally free. customer sent back a very long email where he profusely apologized over and over to the point they must have been crying at the computer while typing it out. They were shocked and stunned I would fire someone just before Christmas and have this attitude that it was a good thing. They literally begged me to hire him back. Well, Steve and I had a good laugh reading what this angry customer wrote. I saved the letter, and over the next 2 years sent it out twice more. Steve was not only a good employee who was honest and caring, I also considered him a friend. Give the people what they want and suddenly they realize they are the monster they hate the most. A few years ago I was working in a casino that was having some management issues. The casino manager was switching out bosses, trying to find one who would help them win more. For reference, dealers make tips, rely on them to pay our bills. Just like waiters and waitresses, we make crappy wages. It's in our best interest to make people happy, and they are more likely to tip us. We get this boss who tries to be a smart A, but while he can dish it, can't take it. He gets angry if I respond back to him as he talks to me. Anyway, one day he comes up with a rule, where when dealing craps, he wants to be able to hear the stick calls from the other side of the pit. Cue malicious compliance. In a bigger casino, I can be heard on New Year's Eve from across the casino. I can be super loud, so per his request, I start making all my stick calls so he can hear it from anywhere, even in the back of the casino, near the employee entrance to the public area. No one really says much about this till one day the casino manager wants to watch the craps game and sits box. He sits at the craps table to watch the action. And I, of course, am doing my normal loud speech. When asked about it, I let him know that the shift boss instructed me to do this. After the casino manager talked to the shift boss, not only was I told he no longer needed me to be heard that loudly, but said shift boss goes back to the sister casino, losing his temporary promotion.
And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.